Nathan Carter never thought he would have a family. As a successful corporate lawyer, his life revolved around contracts, high-stakes negotiations, and calculated decisions. Everything was structured, controlled. There was no room for randomness, no space for emotions to disrupt his carefully laid plans. 4 years ago, a doctor had told him he was infertile. The news had been a clean cut, severing any possibility of fatherhood. He had accepted it, convinced himself it didn't matter. Career, success, and absolute control, those were the things that truly mattered. So when his relationship with Emily Hayes, the only woman he had ever truly loved, reached the point where love demanded something more, he walked away. A family wasn't in his plans, and he believed Emily deserved a different life. Since then, Nathan had lived unburdened. No regrets, no looking back. But everything changed on an ordinary afternoon when he stepped into his usual coffee shop, the one he visited every day after work. He expected nothing more than a strong espresso, but then he saw her. Emily. His heart stopped. But what truly sent his world spiraling wasn't just her. It was the two little girls sitting beside her. Two small girls with golden hair and piercing blue eyes. His exact blue eyes. Nathan's world tilted. Nathan stood frozen, feeling as if the world around him had suddenly come to a halt. The noise of the cafe, the hiss of the espresso machine, the murmur of conversations, the clinking of spoons against ceramic, faded into the background. All that remained was Emily and the two little girls. He couldn't take his eyes off them. They looked too much like him. The eyes, the sharp blue. This wasn't a coincidence. Emily had seen him too. She stiffened, her fingers tightening around her coffee cup. For a moment, he saw the flicker of shock in her expression before she quickly masked it. Nathan couldn't stay still. In just a few strides, he was standing at their table. The two girls were too absorbed in their hot cocoa to notice, the tension thickening in the air. He stopped, his voice rough as he forced out the only question that mattered. "Are they mine?" Emily parted her lips as if to respond, but then, silence. And in that silence, Nathan already had his answer. His fists clenched at his sides, his chest tight with emotions he couldn't even begin to untangle. Shock, anger, disbelief. He had spent 4 years believing he could never father a child, and yet, here they were. Finally, Emily exhaled, setting down her coffee cup with careful precision, as if bracing herself for an unavoidable confrontation. "Yes," she said softly but firmly, "they're yours, Nathan." The words hit him like a sledgehammer. Nathan shook his head, unable to process this reality. "Why didn't you tell me? You had no right to keep this from me." Emily's hands tightened into fists, her expression guarded. "Nathan, this isn't the place for this conversation." Nathan's gaze flicked down to the two girls. They were blissfully unaware of the storm brewing between the adults. One of them, the one with braids, looked up, her blue eyes filled with curiosity. "Mommy, who is this man?" Emily swallowed hard before finally responding, her voice measured. "This is Nathan, an old friend of mine." Nathan went still. An old friend? He wasn't an old friend, he was their father. And he wasn't going to let himself be erased from their lives. Nathan felt his blood boiling. For years, he had believed he was incapable of having children, but the truth was sitting right in front of him. He hadn't just lost 4 years as a father. He had lost the chance to make his own choice. "How long have you known?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. Emily's hands tightened around her coffee cup, avoiding his gaze. "Since the moment I found out I was pregnant." Nathan shook his head in disbelief. "And you didn't think I deserved to know?" Emily let out a sharp breath. "Do you think I didn't try?" "I did, Nathan. The moment I found out, I called you." Nathan frowned. "No, you didn't." "Yes, I did." Emily's eyes locked onto his. "But you ignored the call. Then you texted me saying you didn't want to talk to me ever again." Nathan stilled. That was impossible. He never received a call from Emily. But as the words echoed in his mind, doubt began to creep in. Could he have missed it? No, he would have remembered. His grip tightened around the coffee cup. And then a thought struck him. That day, when he had walked out of Emily's life for good, there was one person who had been unusually interested in his decision. His mind spun as old memories surfaced. 4 years ago, after breaking up with Emily, he had visited a doctor to confirm his infertility. And the one who had delivered the results? Vanessa Reed. Vanessa. A name he hadn't thought about in years. She had been a highly respected doctor, the one who had overseen his test results. But more than that, she had also been someone who had made her feelings for him painfully clear. And now, as he pieced it all together, an unsettling suspicion crept over him. He remembered how, after receiving the results, Vanessa had seemed too invested in his reaction. She had comforted him, told him that someone like him didn't need a family to be whole, that his career was what truly mattered. And now Emily was saying she had called him, but he had never answered? Nathan looked at Emily, his voice dangerously calm. I think someone made sure I never found out. Emily frowned. What are you talking about? Nathan stood abruptly, grabbing his phone. I need to confirm something. If you're telling the truth, then someone deliberately destroyed our lives. Nathan left the cafe with a storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. The feeling of betrayal, anger, and a sliver of desperate hope all tangled together. He needed to know the truth, and the only way to do that was to confront the person who had set his life on this course, Vanessa Reed. Back at his office, Nathan dug through his medical records. He found a copy of his fertility test from 4 years ago, bearing Vanessa's signature. Everything appeared legitimate, but his instincts as a lawyer made him suspicious. He scheduled an appointment with another doctor for a fresh examination. The next day, the new results left him stunned. He wasn't infertile. A wave of fury surged through him. For 4 years, he had lived a lie, deprived of the chance to be a father, all because of a falsified result. And there was only one person who had the motive to do that, Vanessa. Without hesitation, he drove straight to her office. As he entered, he met her surprised gaze. Nathan, what are you doing here? Vanessa asked, a strained smile on her lips. Nathan wasted no time. I want to talk about my fertility test from 4 years ago. Her face paled slightly, but she maintained her composure. That test was accurate, Nathan. Really? Nathan held up his latest test results. His voice was dangerously calm, but his hands were trembling with rage. Because according to this, I'm perfectly capable of having children. He took a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers. So, I want to know, why did you lie? Vanessa's breath hitched. For the first time, her carefully constructed mask cracked. She opened her mouth, then closed it, as if scrambling for an answer. Vanessa faltered, her eyes flickering with unease. Nathan, you have to understand, I only wanted what was best for you. Nathan's voice was cold. What was best for me or for you? Vanessa fell silent, realizing she had been caught. I did it because I love you. Can't you see that? Emily would have only led you astray. I wanted to keep you from the complications, from a family life that didn't suit you. Nathan's fists clenched, his tone icy. You stole 4 years of my life. You had no right to decide my future. He turned on his heel, leaving Vanessa standing there, stunned. There was only one thing left on his mind now, to fix this mess and reclaim the family he had unknowingly lost. Nathan drove straight to Emily's house. He couldn't wait another second. She needed to know the truth, that he had never abandoned her or their daughters by choice. When Emily opened the door, her eyes were guarded. Nathan? He handed her the test results. I was never infertile, Emily. Vanessa forged my results. She wanted to keep me away from you. Emily took the paper, her eyes scanning the numbers, but the hurt in her expression didn't fade. Does it change anything? She whispered. You still left. No matter the reason, you weren't there for them for 4 years. Nathan's chest tightened. I know, but I won't leave again. Give me a chance to make this right. Emily studied him for a long moment before nodding slightly. If you want to be their father, you have to start small. And so it began. Nathan started showing up in Sophie and Isabel's lives. At first, they were wary of him. To them, he was just a stranger. But day by day, he stayed. For the first time, he went to the park with them, Sophie tugged at his sleeve, demanding he push her on the swing while Isabel stood back, observing him, deciding if he was worth trusting. Nathan didn't rush. He knew if he wanted to be their father, he had to earn it. Over the next few weeks, Nathan slowly became a part of Sophie and Isabel's world. He learned their little quirks. Sophie loved superheroes and insisted she was going to be a fierce warrior, while Isabel adored puzzles, carefully fitting each piece together with quiet determination. But no matter how much he tried, there were moments when he felt like he wasn't enough. He couldn't reclaim the 4 years he had lost. All he could do was prove that he wouldn't miss another moment. That chance came one evening when Isabel tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, will you come to my play?" she asked, her blue eyes filled with hope. Nathan froze. "Daddy." The words slammed into him with an intensity he wasn't prepared for. It wasn't just a name. It was a place, a role he had never thought he could have. His throat tightened, and for a moment he was afraid to speak, afraid to break the spell of that single, precious word. He had heard the word 100 times from other fathers talking about their children, but this time, it belonged to him. His chest tightened, a strange, unfamiliar warmth spreading through him. Something beautiful, something painful, because this was the first time. But shouldn't it have happened long ago? He glanced at Emily and saw her hesitation. "She's mentioned it before, but I wasn't sure," Emily said softly. Nathan crouched down to meet Isabel's gaze, his voice slightly rough. "When is it?" "Saturday." Before he could respond, Sophie chimed in excitedly. "Then on Sunday, Daddy, will you come see my painting? One of my artworks is going to be in the school exhibition." Daddy. The second time. This time it hit him even harder. It was acceptance. It was a declaration. It was as if the world had finally placed him exactly where he was always meant to be. Nathan looked into their hopeful faces. Nothing in the world mattered more than this. He swallowed hard, forcing himself to smile. "Daddy will be there." Emily watched him, surprise flickering in her eyes. But something else too, something softer. And when Isabel's face lit up with a radiant smile, Nathan knew he had just taken another step closer to earning his daughter's hearts. After Isabel's play and Sophie's art exhibition, Nathan realized something. He didn't just want to be their father. He wanted Emily too, forever. One evening, as he was tucking the girls into bed, Sophie suddenly asked, "Daddy, why don't you live here with us and Mommy every day?" Nathan smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Would you like that?" Isabel nodded immediately. "Yes, but you have to ask Mommy first." Nathan looked at his 2 little girls, and an idea sparked. "Then, how would you like to help me with something very special?" Sophie and Isabel sat up excitedly. "What?" "Planning a surprise proposal for Mommy." The girls squealed with joy, jumping on the bed. "You're going to marry Mommy?" Nathan grinned. "If she says yes." "She will," Isabel declared with confidence. And so the planning began. For a week, the 3 of them worked together. Sophie insisted on balloons, Isabel wanted candlelight, and Nathan just wanted the perfect moment. One that would show Emily she would never have to do this alone again. That evening, Emily walked into the living room, surprised to see the soft glow of candles and paper flowers crafted by their daughters. Sophie and Isabel stood beside Nathan, each holding a sign. Sophie lifted hers. "Mommy, will you?" Isabel raised the next one. "Marry Daddy?" Nathan took a shaky breath, his heart pounding. "Emily, I spent 4 years thinking I had everything I ever wanted, but I was wrong. The truth is, I didn't even know what I was missing until I found you again, until I found them." His voice broke slightly as he glanced at their daughters. He turned back to her, his blue eyes filled with something raw, something unguarded. "I don't just want to be their father. I want to be your husband. Forever. Will you marry me?" Emily covered her mouth, tears shimmering in her eyes. She looked at her daughters, then at the man in front of her, the man who had changed, the man who had stayed. She smiled, her voice shaking. "Yes." Sophie and Isabel screamed in delight, wrapping their arms around their parents. Nathan pulled Emily close, knowing this time he would never leave again. Nathan and Emily's wedding took place on a warm autumn afternoon. It wasn't a grand affair with hundreds of guests. It was a small, intimate ceremony filled with love. Sophie and Isabel were the flower girls, dressed in pure white with tiny flowers woven into their curls. They could barely sit still, too excited for the day ahead. As Emily walked down the aisle, holding hands with their daughters, Nathan felt his heart stop. She was breathtaking, but more than that, she was home. When the officiant asked, "Do you take her as your wife?" Nathan didn't hesitate for even a second. "I do." Emily's radiant smile, the tears of joy in her eyes, everything was perfect. After the wedding, they officially became a family in every sense of the word. Mornings were filled with laughter, as Nathan clumsily attempted to make pancakes for his daughters. Evenings were spent reading bedtime stories, with Sophie insisting that Daddy had to play the superhero. Simple moments became precious. Dinners together, movie nights, creating memories he had once missed out on. One night, as Nathan kissed Sophie and Isabel goodnight, Sophie whispered, "I love you so much, Daddy." Isabel snuggled into her blanket, mumbling sleepily, "Me too." Nathan felt his heart overflow with a love he had never known before. He had once thought success and wealth were everything, but now he understood. True happiness was right here, in the arms of his family. And that's the story of love, redemption, and the family that was always meant to be. Nathan once thought he wasn't made for fatherhood, that he wasn't capable of love beyond his career, but fate had other plans. In the end, he didn't just find his daughters, he found a home, a purpose, and a love he would never walk away from again. Happiness isn't always something we plan. Sometimes it's the most beautiful surprise life gives us. What do you think about this story? Do you believe in fate and second chances? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the story, share it to spread the love, and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any future videos. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.